It's not a technique for everyone, but if you're in the gym at all and you're dealing with a tight calf or two, then it may be worth giving this little deep tissue massage technique a try. And while it's not all that pleasant, it can be quite effective. So let's talk about it, show you how it's done, and then talk about why keeping your tight, sore calves under control is such a big deal. So essentially what we're doing here with this technique is we're replacing the hands of a massage therapist who would be providing deep tissue massage with a more common and more accessible item. Now you can think of the barbell sleeve here as a rolling pin and your tight knotted calf muscles as dough, and then you as the baker who is going to knead the dough to get out the lumps and bumps. This is a form of soft tissue treatment known as body tempering, which can provide improvements to soft tissue quality and reduce stiffness and soreness within your muscles. And you'll often see folks rolling their calves using foam rollers or similar objects. And while this more traditional approach can still be quite effective and worthwhile for certain individuals, sometimes certain folks can benefit from this more intense body tempering technique. Now, the secret here is to use a traditional spring-loaded collar when you perform this technique. Now, you can do this without the collar and still get good results. However, this collar comes in handy for two particular reasons, and I'll talk about what they are in just a second. But first, let's talk about where your calf is likely to get the biggest benefit with this technique. So with the calf muscle, which is anatomically called the gastrocnemius muscle, it can become tight and restricted anywhere within the muscle itself, but it often becomes most gunked up in the area where the muscle fibers begin to blend into the Achilles tendon. And we call this area where everything's blending together the musculotendinous junction. Now, I won't get into the reasons as to why this area is most often really gnarled up, but just know that it's largely due to the difference in tissue characteristics between the muscle fibers and the respective tendon fibers where they interface, and it leads to all sorts of issues. So while it's worth exploring all of the actual muscle belly of the calf muscles themselves, both the medial and the lateral head, the musculotendinous junction in particular is worth exploring as well, and it will likely be pretty intense in this area. And I would also advocate that you don't go below this junction point, since it will likely become very unpleasant and there won't really be a ton of muscle tissue to target. But as always, you'll want to explore around the entire bulk of your calf muscles to find out which areas are more sensitive for you. Now, just so you know, the calf muscle isn't the only muscle we're targeting here. There are actually multiple muscles along what we call the posterior compartment of your lower leg. However, the two heads of the calf muscle and the soleus muscle, which sits directly underneath, are likely going to be taking the biggest stimulus from this technique. So spring-loaded collars like these that you see here are incredibly popular in gyms, and in this case, they come in really handy for allowing you to fine-tune the movement of the barbell sleeve and also to pull upwards on it a bit if you want to lighten up the pressure to a small extent. Now, it's acting as a handle or a throttle here, and it allows you to be much more precise with how you execute this technique. And again, it's not necessary, but it does make moving the barbell for fine-tuned movement and lifting it up a bit easier. Also, a total random aside here, but one that might be quite beneficial. I picked up these super high power neodymium magnets off of Amazon a while back, and they've been pretty outstanding for allowing me to hang my exercise bands and collars and other accessories in my gym, providing me a little bit more versatility. These are definitely some pretty strong and versatile little magnets, and I love having them because again, it just provides me with a little bit more storage options with my squat stands to hang bands and other things like that. Don't hang like weights and plates off of them, but they can hold up to at least 5 pounds from what I've tested. Not that I use it for weights, but just more for bands and collars and that. So check these out if you want a little bit more storage options on your squat racks or other gym accessories. And hey, real quick, if you're finding this video to be useful or helpful or informative, feel free to hit the like button. That means a ton to me. And feel free to subscribe if you want to stay up to speed on all the content I'm putting out here on the channel. So there is no single universal way to perform this technique, but as a general starting point, here's why I'd recommend for those whom this technique is appropriate for. Rolling or tempering your calves works really well for tissue preparation or tissue recovery, and so it can really be used as part of a warm-up before physical activity or during a cool down after your workout, or you can even do it in between sets in your actual workout. And you can even perform this on dedicated recovery days, which is what I sometimes do myself. So when you're performing this intervention, keep the rolling range within a very small area and just go nice and slow. It's not ideal to really try and cover the entire calf from top to bottom in a single pass, or to do any of this quickly. Now, once you've got a spot that you find is sore, spend some time on it, go nice and slow, and then again, lift the barbell off to another spot, place it back down, and then repeat the process. And if you do want to have the details of this intervention on hand, I have created a free PDF handout that you can download no cost to you whatsoever. It's just got a couple of details that we've covered here about how to get the most out of this technique. And I figured I'd just make a PDF so that you can have access to it on paper or on your phone when you're in the gym or elsewhere, in case you just wanted to review the concepts. Now, the link is posted in the description below, and again, it's totally free. As always, there are multiple ways to go about restoring your tissue mobility to your calves, and it's always worth understanding what's causing this tension or discomfort so that you can really drill down to the root cause of the issue. Now, professional massage to this area can be absolutely outstanding, and I do absolutely advocate for it, but sometimes this just simply isn't in the cards for those on a tight budget. At the end of the day, just make sure that you've got ways that are meeting your needs for keeping your calf muscles supple and pain-free. If you're active and neglect the health of these tissues, it can lead to all sorts of pain, impaired physical performance, and even injury, which is something I see too much of in the clinic. So take care of your calves, and your calves will take care of you. All right, everyone, keep looking after yourselves, keep looking after one another, keep making great things happen, and I will see you in the next video.